Hello, everyone. Welcome to Train Brain. This is Divya here. Today, I want to address a very common concern to many of the parents who are facing with their children. That's their everyday struggle in writing. Now, if your child finds it very challenging to express themselves through writing, you're not alone. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be providing certain valuable tips and strategies which is going to help your child overcome these difficulties. Now, this is not only for parents. In case if you're a teacher or a student who is actually working with children of 2 to 6 years of age, and if they are struggling, here is this video which is going to help you to overcome these writing challenges in your child's classroom or at your home. Okay, so let's quickly get back to our tips. I want everybody to be with me till the end of the video. If you would like to take down some notes, please grab a pencil and a paper and you can start writing down. The entire process, I'm going to be making it very simple by breaking it down into 5 points. The most important one is we got to understand the root cause. Okay, now let's begin by exploring what could be the possible reasons. Why is your child behind in writing? Why is your child struggling to write? Is it related to fine motor? Is it related to any kind of other skills? We're going to see that. Okay. Now, this root cause, further, I'm going to divide that into 10 parts. Okay. The most important one, or the first one I have to understand is the child lacking interest to write? Or is the child not being given enough motivation to write? Now, some children, they might not show interest in writing, right? So, what's more important? We got to motivate the child. We have to engage the child in giving more writing activities. Now, they might find writing tedious is only because they are not having interest in writing. Now, does your child have this issue? Figure it out. Now, at that particular time, what happens? Since the child does not have interest, neither he is being encouraged or motivated to write, that leads to resistance to writing. That's one of the most common thing that we see in our classes, that children are hesitant to write. They resist writing because they are not showing any interest in writing. So what parents we got to do? Create an interest so that the child starts writing. If they're not writing with crayon, with pencil. If they're not writing with pencil, use a sketch pen. They're not using a sketch pen, use marker. So let them begin by showing interest in writing. What could be my second reason why children don't write is because of the fine motor skill difficulties. Now, when we talk about writing, writing involves a fine motor skill. Like, their hand and eye coordination should be there. The child should have a better finger dexterity. The child should have a proper pencil grip, or the grip strength of the hand should be really good. How will a child write if they don't have a proper finger dexterity? See, dexterity could be, is the child writing in right hand or is the child writing in left hand? You got to figure that out. If your child is right-handed and if you're forcing the child to write in left hand, it can be a little difficult issue for a child also, right? So we need to figure it out. What could be the reason? Now, when you're asking the child to point and write, maybe the child is not able to see where to write. So their eye and the hand is not getting coordinated very well. And moreover, finger grip they don't have. When children have these underdeveloped motor skills, or I could say fine motor skills, they struggle with many things. They struggle even to hold a pencil in a right way. They might hold it this way when to write, or they might have all their fingers being this way to write. They might have difficulties in holding. So, if you start working on helping them overcome these fine motor difficulties, maybe they start writing. Okay, the issues could be hand-eye coordination. The issue could be because of the finger dexterity. The grip of the hand is not good. That's the reason they're struggling to hold the pencil. When they're struggling to hold the pencil, what could be my other issues? They cannot make lines. They cannot make patterns, right? So that eventually leads to a delayed formation of letters. They cannot form a letter in a rightful way. When they can't form letters, they can't make words. When they can't make words, they can't write a sentence. All these things will lead to not maintaining a proper handwriting. So this is very important and needs to be addressed. My second skill is on improvising the fine motor skill development. Now, what could be my third reason? What could be the third root cause? Let's take a look through. The third root cause could be because of the learning disability. Now, sometimes certain learning disabilities, like if the child has got dyslexia or if the child has dysgraphia, that can also cause writing as a challenge for children. Now, if a child is being diagnosed or if a child has a learning disability of dyslexia, that affects their reading and writing skills. Now, if they have dysgraphia, it specifically affects their handwriting and writing expression. So this could also be there. So if children are being diagnosed with LD, that is a learning disability, that could be one of the factors. So you got to figure it out how to overcome dyslexia and dysgraphia. I'm not getting detailed into the learning disabilities. We're just only figuring it out what could be the cause. Now the next one could be the lack of confidence. Okay, this is very crucial. See, children, whoever has experienced negative feedback or have been consistently criticized about their writing ability, they lack confidence in writing. We agree on that? Yes. So they feel discouraged. So because of that, they don't write. They avoid writing. They become reluctant in writing. So lack of confidence also sometimes it helps. So how do I encourage writing? Instead of saying the letter B is very difficult, I can say this is such a simple letter. Let's write a straight line. Let's put an open curve, another open curve joining, and that becomes a letter B. So if you give them the directions to write, the child will start having confidence and they start writing. And that's so easy for us to actually work on. Now, the fifth point could be on language difficulties. What I have always found in our classes is children are not that very communicative. In case if they're coming from different cultural languages, sometimes they don't understand. Sometimes, if they are introduced to words and if they are encouraged to write sentences, since writing requires a solid foundation in language, because we need words. That means I need vocabulary. To make a proper sentence, I need to be grammatically correct. My sentence structure should be really good enough. So if I'm not able to maintain all these, my child will still have an issue writing, right? So this is for older children who have understood about the sounds, who knows the conceptuals of blending, but still they're finding it difficult to write. So that's all because of language. So what you need to encourage over there is like, you need to help the child to overcome the language difficulty. If your child is struggling to understand that language, they would have the struggle in reading. Sorry, they would have the struggle in writing. So encourage them to speak orally more. The more they're able to express their thoughts and ideas, the more the child is organized to learn each day. That means the child is giving enough thoughts to even write, right? So overcoming language difficulty could be my next important point that I will have to be looking into. The next point, what I see could be on my sensory processing issues. Now, what do I mean by sensory processing issues? Some children, they have these sensory processing issues. Now, that will help them affect in their writing. But how? But how? For example, if there is a child who is sensitive to certain texture, okay, if you give them a pencil or a pen, and if that pen's sense of touch is not good, the child might not like to write, right? Other example could be in case if I have any distractions, sensory distractions, somebody is walking, somebody is talking, okay, if the child has got difficulty in focusing due to certain other sensory distractions also, they might have issue in writing. They would not write. So we got to figure this out also. Does my child have a sensory processing issue? Does he get easily distracted because of somebody else's voice or any kind of another action? So you got to figure that out as well. Now, the next one is related to children who have these attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So, usually, children who have ADHD, they do have these attention difficulties in many cases because they find it really challenging. Why? Sustaining attention for a longer period of time, focusing on what to write, focusing on the task that has been given for extended period of time, that becomes very difficult for them. So they easily become distracted, right? So when they are distracted, they have difficulty in putting their thoughts together. When they have difficulty in putting their thoughts together, they find it difficult to express what to write and they easily get distracted. So, whenever they have these attention difficulties, children who have ADHD also have difficulties in writing. So, we got to figure that out also. Okay. One of the root cause could be ADHD also, but not in everybody's case, but very few cases. It could be because of ADHD. Now, the most important one is on the emotional factor. Okay. Sometimes we parents and teachers we stress the child, you have to write within this time, you have to write within 20 minutes, you have to write without making mistakes. I've taught you this just yesterday and you're still making a lot of mistakes, right? So what is this creating? It is creating a lot of emotional factors like increase in anxiety of a child, increasing the stress levels of the child, making a child having fear of making mistakes, right? So all these things can interfere with the child's willingness to write. The child will just become reluctant. So they may feel overwhelmed by writing process. They might also fear the judgment from the others, right? If I write this way, what will the others feel? So emotional factors could also be one of the cause that the child is not willing to write. Figure that out as well. Now, last or the ninth one I could say is like, the lack of practice or exposure. Most of the time, as soon as a child completes the school and goes back home, they have a lot of time at home also. So what we always encourage is like, if you have good amount of time, every day sit with your child for 10 minutes, just for 10 minutes. Okay. If your child has not got sufficient practice, or if they're suffering, or if they are not exposed to writing, sit with your child for 10 minutes. Give them some kind of a writing activity. Now, writing need not be writing 5 lines and 10 lines and 1 page and 2 page. It totally depends upon the age of your child. Okay. If your child is, say, 3 years, 3.5 years, who is just beginning to write, exercises like coloring, exercises like joining the dots, exercises like drawing a straight line or a slanting line or a sleeping line, encourage. The more you encourage, the more practice that you give, the more you expose your child towards writing, your child will stop struggling by developing the necessary skills which is required. Okay, so lack of practice is most important reason which sometimes we forget. Sometimes we forget saying that the child is sent to school, the child will learn everything at school and come back. Definitely, yes, the schools will help you to put your child into a very systematic practice, but it is also responsible that we do a little bit of care and required necessity at home as well. The last point could be on the physical health issue. Sometimes, due to physical health issues, also, the fine motor skills would delay. The child would have difficulty in writing. Now, you can always check on the vision. Okay, the first thing could be on the vision. Why is my child not writing? Is he able to see from a very longer distance? Does he have any vision problem? Just check. Or it could be chronic pain. The every time that they're holding and writing, they might experience some kind of a pain. Just check on that also. Okay, so make sure your child is sitting comfortably in a position so that they are not being affected by any of these health issues, right? So it's very important for parents to identify what could be the underlying cause which is making your child reluctant or which is making your child have difficulty in writing. So you have to provide an appropriate support and interventions. So what you could do, you have listed out these could be the points. You can meet your child's teacher, you can meet an educational professional or any kind of an healthcare providers They can help you to determine what could be the best strategy. Now you got to figure it out. Is your child falling into one of these 10? So the first thing is we are sorted. We are sorted. Okay, I'm not giving enough time to my child, or my child is facing health issue, or my child has some emotional factor, my child has some sensory issue, my child is not able to understand what am I trying to say, my child has lack of confidence, or my child has a learning disability, my child has dyslexia or dysgraphia or ADHD, or my child does not show interest at all, or he or she is having motor skill difficulty. They are not able to hold the pencil properly. The grip is not good. As soon as you identify the root cause, your first step is done. So we have broken down the first step. So we identified the root cause. Now let me go to the next one. So we are good to go. So we did our breakdown of the first step. We understood the root cause. We figured that out. We wrote it also. And now we are good to go. Now the second thing, as soon as you understand the root cause, I want you to work on creating a positive writing environment. Now, what do I mean by positive writing environment? You got to be very supportive. Always use a quiet place, a very comfortable space. Keep all the necessary writing materials. It could be pencil, eraser, sharpener, ruler. Don't get up and go multiple times. Keep everything ready. Okay. Then you introduce how to write. Every time that you're encouraging your child to write, it is also important for a parent also to sit down and write with the child. Let me write a letter, you also write a letter. Kind of a game it becomes, kind of a bonding session it also helps you to work. Each time we do that, we are creating a supportive environment at home. We are creating an encouraging environment at home. This will help your child boost confidence in writing. You will see day after day, you start offering constructive feedback to your child. You can see your child's handwriting would improvise. Your child will start showing a lot of improvements in writing. The time that child takes to write a letter will also increase. So celebrate these little efforts of your child. So celebration is also important. So we got to celebrate that as well. Let's look into the third point. Okay, so as after you have broken down the root cause, after you have encouraged and created a positive writing environment, now we are going to make writing fun and much more engaging. Now, how can it be more fun? You start making games. You can also tell stories as you write. You can also give some imaginative prompts to your children. So encourage them to make some journals. You can encourage the children to start writing any drawings and share that to their friends or family members on important occasions. Even children can be encouraged to write letters to their teachers, to their family and friends. Let them write, let them create their own stories, let them color that up. Right? So when you start engaging activities of these, isn't that going to be much more fun? And we're also engaging. So these engaging activities would foster a lot of enthusiasm and it'll help your child view writing as a creative outlet. Okay, so that brings me down to my fourth breakout point. And the fourth one is I'm going to take it really small. So let's break our tasks into smaller steps. So, what do? Large assignments sometimes can be overwhelming for the child who's struggling with writing, right? So as soon as you give, okay, you got to write 5 pages of homework, your math teacher's given you 2 pages of homework, then we're going to do our handwriting. It's a big task for a child. Should we do that? Now, let's break our tasks into smaller steps. Let's begin with breaking down into smaller. So, manageable steps. Let's finish the first line. Good job. Let's do the second line. Good job. Let's do the third line. Good job. Each time that the child is doing every line writing, guide them. Okay, brainstorm them. What went good? What went wrong? Maybe the first line, the letters were not touching the lines. The second line, you can brainstorm. So we did that mistake. Let's overcome that. Right? So, and then you give them organizing ideas. After doing that, where should you keep my books? Okay, organizing ideas. Keep writing drafts. Each day you got to celebrate. Maybe you can reinforce the same progress and you would be able to see it. Very simple for us. That gets me to my fifth point, seeking professional help. Now you did everything, but still it is not helping you out. Your child is still struggling with writing, the difficulties are still persisting, and it is not impacting their academic performance at all. You have consulted the teachers, you met this educational professionalist as well. Sometimes it is not helping you out. So that's where you have to meet a healthcare professional who can assess your child's need and provide appropriate interventions, okay, like occupation therapy or specialized instructions they can start giving you. Okay, so this is going to help you to work with your child. And this was a very simple lesson that I wanted to share with all of you. Okay, so one thing towards the end I wanted to share with all of you is like, remember, every child progresses at their own pace. Okay, every child is unique. By understanding and underlying causes, whatever is fostering to a positive writing environment, if a parent and a teacher makes a writing engaging exercises much better, when you break tasks into simple steps, okay, and every time you support your child when they overcome or when they are encountering these writing challenges, it helps the child to come forward. Okay, so that was for our today's session. So I think this lesson actually helped you. So stay tuned for more such tips and resources on our channel. Together, we can help our children develop essential writing skills. We will be able to help them to unlock their full potential. So, I would love to introduce you also to our training program in case if you're interested to take up any of our training sessions. We do have our teacher training program wherein we provide diploma in Montessori training at our 3 centers located in Bangalore. If you're interested, you can connect with us on the following number. Okay, so this was our today's segment, and I hope you all had a great time watching this. So I'm really thankful to all of you for watching, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. If you like the content, you can share it with other parents who are struggling with their children for, with writing. And if you have any queries or questions, or if you have any additional tips that you have worked upon for your child, do share it. Leave that in the comments below so that it helps the other parents also to take a look through. Okay, keep supporting your child's journey towards becoming a confident writer. I would see you next time. Thanks for watching. Have a great learning time. Loads of love from Divya. Thank you.